Let's draw two summer gnomes using Inkscape. Hi, I'm Nodwa from Paperflow Designs. Join me and I'll show you how to make these really simple designs and turn them into cut files. We'll start off by drawing a circle for his nose. So I'm just going to use the circle and ellipsis tool to make a small little oval. Don't worry about the color being blue because we're going to use the color dropper tool to select that peachy color from the color palette. We're going to make this in two different skin tones. So at the end, I'm going to show you how to change this to make it for a darker skin tone. So next up is his hat. So I'm going to use the shortcut for the triangles tool, which is just a star key. And I'm going to draw a simple triangle and I'm going to double click to get the nodes and then I'm going to shape them into place. His hat's looking good, so now I'm going to change the color to the pink. I'm just going to select the hat and then I'm going to use the color dropper tool to change it to the pink color from the color palette. You can always find the color palette using the link that's in the description below. The next step is to draw his beard, and you know I'm a fan of shortcuts. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate his hat. I'm going to rotate it, and then I'm just going to move it down below the nose. And then I want to change the color because I don't want him to have a pink beard. So I'm going to choose the color dropper tool and pick that bottom grayish kind of color. That's it at the end of the color palette. Next thing, I'm just going to slide the hat down just below, like a little bit under his nose. And then I'll move the beard up a little bit further. What I'm going to do to get the rest of the beard shape that I want is, of course, I'm going to double click to get the nodes and I'm going to move those around so that it doesn't look exactly like the hat. The beard's looking kind of plain and boring, so we're going to give it a little bit more depth and texture. We're going to duplicate that existing beard shape that we have, and then we're just going to shrink it down to make it a little bit smaller and use the spacebar or cut and paste to just duplicate it and move it around the edges of the beard. So you'll see exactly what I'm talking about right here. We'll shrink that, move that into place, and just keep going. As we go around the edge of the beard, I'll just flip and rotate them as I want. You can do yours, however you want. So there are no hard, fast rules. Just choose, the size that you want to put on there. Now that the beard's done, I'm going to take all of those pieces. I'm just going to select all of the sections of the beard, and then I'm going to combine them into one so they just have like one single layer of the beard. And move it away off the nose so you can see that, and then just use Control Z to put it back. Now we don't really need those extra little pointy ends at the top of the beard. So to make this like nice and clean, to give it like a nice clean finish look, we are going to duplicate the hat and use it as a template to cut out that extra piece of the beard that's sticking out that we don't really need. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to enlarge the size of the beard because I want it to be larger than the hat, and that'll give me room to cut away the extra bits, the little extra parts that I don't need. Now we can duplicate the hat, and then while we have the hat and the beard selected, we're just going to use the path cut feature the path cut tool to cut that shape out. Once I've cut my design, I can just select the extra parts and just delete them. So now you can see I have another little point that didn't get cut out, but you can fix that. Let me show you how we can fix that. I'm going to double click to get the nodes, and then we're just going to select and delete those extra nodes that we don't need. So you can click them one by one, or you can select a group of them and then delete them. Now you see it's a nice clean design. So we've got our little gnome face, got our little head for our gnome. Now we're going to make his body, I want to say. So I'm just going to duplicate his nose, and I'm going to use that to make the shape of the body. It's just going to be like a really simple circular shape, but with a flat bottom. We can select the body and then use the color dropper to change the color to the pink color. So it's just going to match the hat, and then drop it down below the beard. We're ready to give him some feet. So to do this, we're just going to duplicate the nose and then drag it down to below the body. We're going to duplicate that a second time to make a second foot, and then we're going to change the color using the color dropper tool. So just click the color dropper tool and the light brownish color from the color palette. We're going to give him some hands, so we're just going to take the same circle that we used to make the nose. We're going to duplicate it, we're going to move it down to the side of his body, and then we're going to double click to get the nodes. And I'm just going to make like one side sort of flat, and then I'm going to flip it over, and then I'm going to duplicate that to make a thumb for him. Once you've made the first hand, just select those two, combine them, and then duplicate it, flip it over, and move it over to the other side of the body. Time to add the 3D part to our image. We're going to use the Hello Summer Textures bundle. Everything that you need will be in the description below or above, so just check there for the links and then you can get started. Once you've imported the texture bundle onto your layer, you can just take the color that you want to choose. I chose a blue one because I like the kind of like tie-dye effect that it's going to give it. You can choose any color you want, and I think the blue will show up the best. So I take the blue one, I'm going to duplicate it, and then I'm going to enlarge it because I want it to be larger than the size that I'm going to cut it out from, so larger than the hat. So from there, I can duplicate the hat, and I'm going to select the hat and the texture, and then I'm going to use the shortcut to get the intersection of those two things. So we're going to do the same thing to his outfit. So I'm going to take that blue texture from the Hello Summer texture bundle. I'm going to duplicate it. I'm going to enlarge it and make it wider and taller than the size of his outfit. And then I'm going to take the intersection of those two selections. From there, we want to take our little cutout, the little tie-dye looking image, and then lower it so it's going to be below the beard, but on top of his outfit. So for me, that's going to take 3 steps because I have to lower it below each shoe and then below the beard. For you, that should be the same. And I'm just going to select everything so you can see all the different moving parts that we have here. You can combine them if you want to make them into a sublimation, or you can just leave them as individual layers for SVG. So remember how I mentioned that we're going to be doing this in 2 different skin tones? Well, here it is. So I'm going to select the first one. I'm going to select all of the layers on there, so all of the pieces on there, and then I'm going to duplicate them. I'm just going to move them over to the right, and I want them close enough so the hands are kind of touching, but not necessarily overlapping. I just don't need any really white space between them. So I'm going to select that hand, and then I'm going to pick a brown color from the color palette below. I don't really want to keep it that brown color. I want to change it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the color dropper tool, and then I'm just going to hold it down and then select a zone that's in between those 2 colors. So I'm just going to like make a selection over the 2 of those colors and change the color to like this other brownish tone that I like better. So from here, we're going to select the other hand and the nose and use the color dropper tool to change those to the new brown color that we have so that everything, kind of looks and matches up. That's what we want, right? So here you have the 2 different color tones of your summer gnomes. So that was it for today. Thank you for joining me, and hopefully I will see you again next week. Bye! Remember to like and share the video with a friend. And if you want more tutorials like this, please subscribe and turn on the notifications so that you can know whenever I load up a new tutorial.